Kia ora. Good evening. Welcome to one more session of Coding Nights, New Zealand. And tonight we have like a continuation of what we started a few months ago, right? With where we explored a pragmatic approach with clean architecture in .NET projects. So this is lesson two. Lesson one, we explored the clean architecture templates, right? We established a solution, and tonight we're going to continue exploring uh, other features, right? That within the, let's say, they're part of what most templates do with clean architecture. We're going to be exploring more how we can onboard CQRS and mediator within our previous solution, the one that we created. So for those that don't know me, my name is Marcel Medina. I'm a software developer, I'm Azure specialist, I'm a playground enthusiast and coder, right? So for those that don't know me, I'm a co-founder also like of playgokids.com, currently working at Datacom as a practice lead, in my blog, well, it's on tech.playgokids.com. This year I was awarded being like Microsoft's MVP on the Azure space. Here's my QR code if you want like to have like more details, explore like those blog posts I share with the community. We have the details in there, right? And well, we're coding nights user group. The intent of the user group is really to enable developers, right? Just to like with practical uh, ways of doing things by just like learning from sharing, right? Sharing is caring. But we are like developers. We love coding. We follow like best practices. We explore like different technology stacks, different solutions, development language, technologies. We're open really for like what the market is doing, right? And with that translates to, well, developers that know are aware, right? Let's say awareness to what you can do, right? So if you're like a junior dev coming like to the market and you want like just to step up, recommend like those sessions we have. In general, like we tend to have sessions that bring some good content for even like for junior devs, for senior devs, lead devs, and there's always something like great to learn with those sessions. Also part of AzureTarn.com, which is like a cloud native group where we share the latest and greatest from cloud native space. Also sponsored by .NETFoundation.org, which is a open source entity that looks after the different .NET Foundation projects, right? Open source projects. And with no further ado, I'm just going to start. The intent is that we're going to have some sort of introduction, and then we're going to do hands-on, right? On this session here, we tend to focus like more on coding. We're going to bring like some context, right? Like of secure S, mediator, and how we can apply them like by doing the coding. I'm expecting we're going to pass like the 1 hour mark for that, but just bear with me. I think like that's a good way of learning by looking at how others do it and the mistakes that others do it as well. So you can avoid yourself like when you do it in the future. I just can see like some people like just saying hello, hi, shouty, Unix 2, hello, hey guys. So let me just share here like my screen, and I'm gonna bring my PPT in here. Just bear with me. So this one. So this is the screen. We're not jumping to code yet, but yeah, that's what we're gonna start exploring. All right, agenda, as I said. So intro, just like a context, so you know, like we have like foundations for that, right? We're not making that up. And hands-on, so right. So just reviewing from previous session. Lesson one, we explore the clean architecture design and the modeling behind. And it comes like to this diagram, like looks like more like onion in layers. But like what we have like on the middle is just like entities, just the core. It's just like the core that dictates uh, the behavior of our uh, domain, right? So the business domain logic, right, that we have in our solution. And we have abstractions, interfaces that dictates the behaviors, right? Because you think about the clean architecture where the focus is towards the domain rather than the technology, right? So you're gonna see in here that, well, we have the core, but the focus is towards the core, the domain of this design. Also have like the application layer, which is this blue layer around the core. Yeah, what it does is basically more like an orchestrator layer that coordinates the different business rules available on the core. So that's the purpose of that. And you're gonna see you have this green layer and the red one. That one says, okay, we have the infrastructure layer, which comprises the technology stack, but that talks like, for example, to other services, right? So that would fit in within infrastructure. If we have like database, that would fit in within infrastructure. And we have the user interface. So it could be web, it could be a job, right? A work service or console app. So the intent is that, okay, we have this inwards dependency. So we know that from the core, we dictate how other layers behave. So the external layers, outwards layers reference the inner layers, right? So that's the purpose of it, because technology changes. So you can more easily plug and play different tech stacks while the domain, right, of your business stays always there, right? That's not going to change. So that's the main purpose of this design. A link from here. I'm just like reviewing what we approached. So if you're coming for the first time, you have some context, but I highly recommend you to watch the previous session. And then, well, we're gonna come like mediator, but mediator itself, the library, is based on what? The mediator pattern. And what's the mediator pattern, right? So software engineering, mediator pattern defines an object that encapsulates how a set of objects interact. Okay, so how objects talk to each other, how they interact with each other. So this pattern is considered like a behavior pattern due to the way it can alter the program's running behavior. So, well, design patterns, right? So if you remember, we have creational, we have structure, we have behavioral. Creational, just like, okay, how you create objects, right? You define the creation of objects. An example, abstract factories, just creating objects. Huh? Then you have like structural um, pattern, where it tells like it changes the structure of your class, of how you implement uh, let's say inheritance or composition, right? One example is decorator, where through composition, injection of interface, you modify the behavior of your class. But this one, the mediator, is a behavior. So what can we do like a behavioral pattern? Like just, well, it enables us to communicate to different objects. And that's what it does. Here, like, I have an example, like objects, like consider objects, right? Regardless the context in here, we have buttons, but like we have different objects talk to each other. We don't have like any sort of control. So uh, can get messy, right? So you're just connecting where you need it. But what the mediator does is that, okay, centralize, kind of enables other objects to talk to each other. All right, so that's what we have in here, like on the screen. That's the link on the article that we have as a reference. And then comes the library, right? Okay, mediator. Well, this library was created like by Jimmy Bogart, so he creates like libraries, famous libraries like AutoMapper as well. Mediator, like it's this one that we're approaching like today, tonight. But what it does, right? So if you look there, like decoupling the in-process sending of messages from handling, right? So if you look at APIs, right? So you have like a request, and the request is gonna call a service. Well, in general, like we're gonna make the request directly to the object that deals with the service. But what mediator does is comes like in the middle in here and just say, okay, you're coming as a request and say, I need to talk to this implementation. Mediator is gonna handle and talk like to the handler that does that. Uh, well, benefits, right? We have like this decoupling behavior because you're not talking directly, well, connecting things the way you want, like could get messy depending on how you do it, but it does that sort of translation, like this middle man to help us to communicate from requests to handlers. Uh, the library itself has like this feature where, well, you have like notifications, sort of pub and sub, right? But where you publish some sort of message or event, let's say event, you publish an event, you have like a way of subscribing to that event. It's in process. What it means is that like within the context of your application, you're gonna be dealing with that. Uh, it's not the same as with messaging where you have like this concept of publishing subscribers, but when you have like external services to do that, no. What it does, the library is this in process implementation for you, which is handy. Like there are like implementations where I see people doing domain-driven design, right? DDD, and when you're dealing with domain events, that's in process sort of events that changes. Let's say an item was created, so you have like an event, item create event that needs to do something, right? So you can use like mediator to automate that sort of implementation for you. It is handy, pretty good. There are also like pipelines. I'm not approaching here, it's in here, but with fluent validation, for example, right? Like where you have like other libraries and you can hook that through mediator. And what happens before the handlers happen, you can inject, well, you can do a lot of things. You can do logging, you can do validation. So in general, like you're gonna embed other libraries, other sort of validations, whatever you need, like before or after the execution, and it allows you to have that sort of good like way of intercepting and applying your own behaviors. It's pretty good. I'm not approaching this one tonight. I have like other videos on the user group you can check. I'm gonna share like the link later, but yeah, that's in there. Okay, that's a link from Mediator. And then we have like secure S as well, right? So we're gonna be approach secure S. What's secure S pattern? So it stands for command and query responsibility segregation. And what it means, like, so it's a design pattern that separates reads and update operations, right? So they're not, in general, like when we create CRUD operations or we have like APIs talking to our services, well, uh, we put like things together, right? Like create operations, read operations, updates, delete. What we can do if this pattern is just separate. We can do only reading. We can do updates, right? Create, update, delete operations. They're called like commands, basically. What's well, clear positive benefits is separation of concerns that allows you to separate those flows, right? That I just mentioned, and you can design for scalability. Let's say if you have like a reporting. So reporting is just based on, in general, right, from read-only operations. So you could like have a particular caching mechanism just to retrieve the data, cache it, and uh, give like to the requester, right? So you want like to pull like some sort of more resource from the platform to enable you to have a better performance. So it allows you to do that. There are like complexities, right, as well, because well, dealing with that, um, well, you need to know like what they're doing. I think like what I want to bring is in here is that like benefits outweigh the cons, right? So, but because I feel like there are lots of positives in here that we can make from Mediator and SecureS together. With SecureS, right? So basically, as I said, we have like query the client, making the requests, going to be like a read operation is a query. It's going to update is a command. And then we have like a database for reading and write operations. We can scale that one, right? So we can split the flow. There are challenges with that, right? Benefits, as I said, like caching, for example, reporting. I want just to have like a replica DB where I have like only read-only information. Can you do that? Yeah, you can. It's just like a way how you connect to different sources. But if you have like operations updating the data, if you want that refreshed straight away, that's when we have like challenges, right? That's a deep dive onto the different challenges, but this is called like eventual consistency. So from the time where you update the primary until it gets synced, maybe there are other requests coming before, and you're gonna retrieve that information that's out of date. So that's like just to give you some context in here. Uh, for the context of this demo, I'm not going to approach this. I'm going to approach this because I want to show like the design pattern itself, right? But yeah, it's a good reading. I shared the CQRS in here, right? So that's the link. It contains like really good information in there. So let me go to that. And what happens like with Mediator, right? So before we had like only the command in query in one single sort of wrap. But now Mediator does like this decoupling. Commands from handlers, right? So the request from handlers. Uh, there are ways like of simplifying that. So when you're creating like your commands, or you can kind of combine them in the same file. So don't need to split them. So knowing how you're going to debug that, if you're coming like for the first time onto the implementation, you can have like everything in one single file, two implementations, and that simplifies things. Uh, I'm not seeing like messages. Sorry for that, not yet. I hope like to, if there are questions, to answer when we're doing the demo. I think in here, right? So let me just see if I have like questions. But if we don't, then we're gonna do the demo. Let me just check. All right. No questions. Maybe if you do, just feel free to ask, right? What I want like to share was this one, as I mentioned before. So if you're coming like here, like for the second part, so we have like part one. So feel free to check like this, the previous streams. The logo is the same, right? And for this presentation. So you're gonna see like the lesson one available on the YouTube channel. Okay, so let's get hands-on, like 20 minutes. uh, I'm hoping to do this in 1 hour. So bear with me, we're gonna extend a little bit more. But as you can see here, right? So I have like this previous solution from lesson one, right? Well, that's on this repository here that's on GitHub. I grabbed like lesson one because what we're going to be doing, we're going to improving on top of what was created before. And it always starts, so that's the project, right? So we have the core, then we have the wrap application, and then we have the outer layers, infrastructure, and client. What we're going to do, we're going to be replacing this service, which is under the application, right? So this one. So we have like the service in here. And what it does, so that's basically it. We have like, well, the service is doing, okay, a get for like comments. It's doing a get or comment by a specific ID, right? We have like a submit comment that does nothing, just raise an exception. We have like a process comment that is doing like uh, an implementation here for like well, just to give some context, right? So we created like a solution that deals with comments, right? So let's say if you have a blog post, you want to, you have a blog and you want to embed comments to that post. So you could take this one and try like creating, okay, users can like it or not, or can put like other comments. That was the idea. There like some sort of behavior here. We try to create like some sort of rich domain for validating the comments if they're approved or if they're not. Uh, I think like I'm not like uh, reviewing the solution, but we're gonna just evolve from here, right? Coming here, so what we can see in terms of queries, right? So queries, we have get, we have this get comments by ID, those two. So we have like two gets in here, queries. And what sort of commands? Well, we have submit, you have process comment. So we have like two of each. What we're gonna do, we're gonna split them to start, right? This is a solution where we have like only comments, right? Bear in mind that if you have like a large application, you're going to be kind of creating a structure that matches a particular domain, right? In here, like I only have comments, so I'm not creating like specify, okay, a folder for comments and pulling like all of the subfolders in there. I don't need it, right? Because I can have everything here. But if you're going to do it on your, well, for your company, in general, you're not only going to have like folders, right? You're going to split into projects, application dot something, application dot something else. So you're going to kind of scale and break it down like the way how you feel like that should be, like different projects, maybe different folders, up to you. In here, like it's just like a simple example. So let's go. What I'm gonna do, we're gonna create like a commands folder. I know like the zoom here is not that great, but at least on the codes in here, I think that should be okay. I think like when I need to zoom in, I'm gonna just kind of come here, right? So you guys can see it. So I'm gonna create like this folder commands. I'm gonna create like another folder called query. Actually, plural is best. Queries and commands. Let me rename that. Okay. And what we're going to do in here, we're going to create this query, like starting with the comments, get comments. We're going to create like a query for that. How we're going to do it? We're going to create, when it comes here, get comments query. Okay. That's what we're going to do it. We're going to come to that. Right. So I'm starting here because that's our service that we implement that contains those calls, and we're going to be splitting those. But in here, right, so now I'm going to start like introducing what? Mediator. So we need to import the library in here. Let's go to the NuGet, and I'm going to bring the mediator I had before. Nice one. So they're like nowadays, this one. Use like you in the past you would use that, but there was a version 12. There is everything is within here. All right, so you don't need to use that. That has been actually deprecated now. So just go with the that version 12. Let's bring that in. Cool. We should have it now. That's green. What we're gonna look is that, okay, so what sort of return I have in here? I have a list of get comment view. What's my signature? I don't have anything being provided. I just returning that. So I'm gonna come in here and we're gonna create like this what I request. You can see like mediator, like so that's the implementation that we have in here, right? So that's what it says is just like a it's an abstraction for the requests they're gonna be made from APIs, right? So that's what it does. That's an implementation. Okay, Let me implement that. That's it. We don't have like any sort of signature. We have nothing. So if we, well, if we did have that, we would include it, but we don't. So we just need to make sure that for this particular request, we have that response. That's how it is. So let's go and create, okay, public class get comment query handler. Okay, you're gonna have I request handler. In here, that is going to receive what? A get comments query. Get comments query, and we're gonna have a return of a list. Because if you look in here, you're gonna you need like a T request and a T response, and that's what we're gonna do. All right, so I still need to implement that. Okay, implement missing members. That's it. So we have that. Let me just remove that sort of uh, references. But yeah, so okay, so we create like we combined, right? So I think like I see people in general having challenges with mediator and how it works, but because people split those concerns even like into different files. Nothing wrong with that, but if you're debugging, it makes sense to combine them together. So you have like the requests and you have the handler, right? So for debugging, you know like that a request is gonna come, you're gonna reach this particular file, and then you can see, okay, cool, that's where it's going. That's my handler. Why do we need that in here? Let's copy like this whole thing, and we're gonna put it in here. Let me just include that. Well, we need the iComments repository, so that needs to be injected, right? So let's inject that one. We're gonna come in here, we're gonna iComments repository, comments repository, do the implementation, and then boom, we have like our first query, and that's there, right? What we can do in here, so now we can just come in. Well, just for now, we're just commenting that out. Still, it's not going to compile. Uh, I just put it there because we just like tick the box for this one. What I'm going to do now? We're going to do the next one, right? So how we're going to call it? Well, similar as before. So get comment by ID query. All right. Let me put like this one. And well, let's look like at this implementation, right? What's the result? So we need to get like this get comment view model, but we have the signature, we have this integer of comment ID. So bear in mind, so we need just to consider that. What we're gonna do, so we're gonna put like this I request or get comments, oh, cool. And we're gonna have like this, well, a constructor for that, that receives I comment ID. All right, so let me do this one as a property, and that's okay. So now we have like that the query, the request defined, the object for that. Let's go and get comments by ID query handler. And then we're going to I request handler of, again, so this one, oops, in general, like typing is much better. Oh, Copilot, are you help me or you suggest something that doesn't make any sense? Let me see. Get comments view. Yeah, it has like the results, right? Uh, should I accept? Maybe. Wow, let's see. Does it make sense? Not sure. Let's see what it did. So if I come in here, let's double check, right? So you you are like responsible for what you implement. So let me copy that. Does it make sense? Kind of. Do I trust it? Maybe. Yeah, I did. It did a good job. Nice one. So so now I like well, I have like my repository implemented. What about the comment ID? Well, that's gonna come from here, from my request. So if I grab that, right, dot comment ID, so I have that one coming in, right? So cool. Like so, I have like my second implementation. Let me just clear that those unused references, and I can come in here, right? So and comment. I didn't comment the other one. Anyways, let me come in here and do this whole thing because we are done on that. Well, we did the queries, right? So that's positive. Now we should go to the commands. Let's look at that. Like what sort of return I have in here? It's a task. Even like for the next one, we have no result. So we don't need to bother about specify what's going to be my return for that. But this one I have uh, the signature contains this submit comment input model, right? So let's create like first the handler for that. So how we're gonna call it? Submit comments or command. Submit comments. Let me include that one. This is going to be public. Well, we don't have like any return. So what's gonna be? I request. No, not comment. That's it. In the past, like with previous versions, you would have like a unit with mediator. Now, well, if you're not returning anything, don't use it. So that's how things are implemented now. Much better. And then we need to pass what? Well, the constructor of this submit comment input model as an auto property as well. Remove this all references in here. So, okay, so we have like our implementation in here. Let me come down. So public class, semicolon handler. All right, definitions, always follow them. They're helpful, prevent you from make mistakes in the future. Well, Copilot suggesting something here. Submit comments, commands. That's exactly my input. Is it doing, well, I can see in there like this return a task unit. No, I don't need that. But I'm gonna go it with it and then no, I'm not gonna go it because I have, I have a like, we have no implementation for that. We just have like an exception, right? So what I need to do in here, not implement the exception, right? What are we having here? Not implement the exception. So let's do that. So we tick the box. Hooray. So let's go like to the next one. Process comments. Let's create another one called commands. Okay. Commands should be okay. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes like a double check like the for typos if things don't work in the end. If we have compiling errors, well, we're gonna go through it and we're going to troubleshoot as well. So, come back. So this one, right? So we have no return, but we have comments ID. Do I need anything here? No, just I request it. Why command? Yes. Okay, but we have the comments ID. So we can come in here, put it on, and for this one, and implement the auto property. I don't like unused things that come to that. And then Let's create like the handler for it. Okay, handler. I request handler of what? Of process, comments, command. Let's see. No, no suggestions. I think Copilot was upset, but we have like no results. So this one implement. Cool. Let's go like to the implementation here. I'm gonna copy the whole thing and put it here. Then we're gonna understand like what's missing. Well, comments repository. Yeah, we need to have like the constructor for that. Right, so I comments repository. Oops, just a minute here. And then, okay, comments repository, uh, introduce that. So we have like less, well, errors are kind of now disappearing. What else? Content moderation service. Let me put like another one in here. Okay, we have like oh, the solution has like that. So if you submit like a comment that uh, I don't know contains like bad wording, and then you want to have like moderation, we have a service for that. Content moderation service, right? So that one also eliminated like other errors. What about this one? Request. Request dot comment ID. Let's bring that one. Put in here. I'm just replacing just to make sure that works. But we have this guy here, still red, right? So, and that was my second implementation, query implementation here. How can I do it? So I need to call this, but I don't have a reference anymore. Well, we can use mediator. So now mediator is coming here to help me to talk to other implementations, right? Because this one, well, from the requester, it leads to a handler, but on this handler, it is behaving as the requester. So I need to do the same here. Like I need to use mediator. And how I'm gonna do it? I'm gonna put like, oops, mediator dot send. And in here, I'm gonna put, okay, so I need a new get comments by ID query. And I'm gonna pass the request dot comments ID. What else? This one, also it's a async. I can remove this one. So I pass the cancellation token in here as well. Hopefully you guys can see it in here. So like I removed all the red missing, uh, just the errors, right? All the red errors, those are replaced. And mediator here just came into place to allow me to talk to the query implementation. Oh, that's it? Nope. We need to hook that now, like in make it work, right? So that's the application we have in here. Now, who's going to be consuming that? So that's the client. Where? Well, if you look at endpoints in here, well, we need to make like the endpoints to call the backend in here, like the mediator implementation. How are we gonna do it? We're gonna create different endpoints. By the way, I'm using Azure Functions in here. So it's not ESP.NET Core API. It's just Azure Function. That's how like it behaves, right? So you have a way of dealing with get posts in the implementation itself. I'm going to create 4 of them. Right? The first one is going to be called get comments because that's what we're doing basically. I'm going to just put in here get comments. It's going to be a get, right? Not a post. This one, what's going to do is that, okay, it was calling the comment service. I don't want this service anymore. What do we have in here? So if I go like to the service now, that's, well, no longer needed. I'm gonna do it, delete, delete. All right, so delete that. We have like red flags, right? So how we're going to do it is that, let me remove that. These are endpoints. We're gonna make a request. We need to bring mediator. Mediator. The thing is that I didn't reference mediator in here. Let me just see if that was resolved. Because that's not installed. No, I think they're just referencing, but I need to include this mediator in here as well, because that's a part of the application, but the client itself also needs it. So let me bring that one in. Okay, that's in green. And let's go down here. So we need now to make the request. So mediator send get comments query. Oh, that's cool. I did include mediator. So let me include in here. All right, so we have our first operation in place. What we need to do now, we need to implement for the others. So let's put in here get comments by ID. I'm just calling it as close as possible to our intent. Right, so that's what we have. Just some logging, but for this one, we need like the ID, right? So we need to retrieve the ID. So var comments ID equals rec.url.query. What we're gonna define here. Well, I'm gonna just make it for working, and it should be something like that. So I'm just gonna pass like a parameter. I could specify a name, but like the first one that comes in, I'm just grabbing it, which is going to be the comment ID, right? So for that, I'm gonna come in here. Some questions. I just saw it. Shouty, should we use mediator in the service layer or use the service layer in the mediator? I mean, you can inject the mediator to your Azure function layer directly. You can. I think like because I started with the application, and but like if you look like at the coupling, right? So I have like dependency in there, like on the application for the interface, the iMediator, and that's like what allows me to make like to get the application to also uh, orchestrate, right? Make like the request to other applications. We could have like applications in here, other applications. So for me, it made sense to have mediator in there, right? But if you don't have like queries or requests from within your application, we wouldn't need to reference. But I think like from experience, you're gonna leverage that, right? Because you have like different queries, different commands. Sometimes you want to nest those sort of behaviors in there. So that's why I did that. The mediator handlers, you can use the service layer. What's the best approach and why? When you say like the service layer, well, the service layer, you could like centralize some particular behavior or uh, but I think like the idea in here, I don't know if you're talking about like you're talking about like mediator itself, but we're using CQRS, so we're kind of splitting the concerns. But if you have like the service, the service directly, so you wouldn't be use CQRS, right? So you would have everything within your service implementation. I think that if that's the what I'm meaning here. My question is, which should be closer to the application layer, the service layer or the mediator? Uh, when you say the service layer, is that like the implemented by the infrastructure, or would it be like just like the services for the uh, for your project, right? Because in general, like we call like services how you communicate to other layers as well. So that's why I had like service, right, on the application layer, because that was calling something else, right? Our infrastructure in this case. Um, so in this case in here, I'm using, it's not a service layer, but I'm using like a service implementation for making those requests. The service layer is to implement the business logic. In this case, it's orchestrating, right? So it was orchestrating the different the different like ways of how the objects need to communicate to each other. Because like, for example, right, before I have like on the service, I had the comments repository and I had the um, content moderation. So it was coordinating how to call each one of them within this service. But what I did now, I dictate, okay, I'm leveraging SecureS. SecureS is going to be dealing with that. No, all good. No, just come with the questions. I think like I'm just going to continue on that, and maybe like we just review like the questions later on. So let's just continue on that. Mediator sends get comments, not this one. Let me just by ID. This one is going to be an int parse, and this is going to be a comment ID, right? Let me just see here. Okay, that's all good. So this one, we need to return that. Oops, go back, back. Get comments. This is not list. I'm just looking here like I'm not returning a list. I'm just returning a comment. So return comments. All right, so that's there. So now let's go to the comments in here. Submit comments, right? So submit comment. So that's going to be, oops, this one. Submit comment. We don't have any return in here, so we shouldn't have it. But this one should be a post. This one. Okay, should be a post. Submit comment. Let's do that. And for that, we're gonna also use mediator. Not capital. Okay, this one. This is going to be submit comments commands that receives a submit comment input. Yes, we need to do that. So var submit comment input model equals request dot read JSON async. All right. It's not read from JSON. Async, yeah. This should be we need to wait for that. Okay, so we have in here like our input model. We should provide that in here. It's complaining about cannot submit comment input, submit comments input model. Ah, yeah, we don't have like any return. Yes, forget about it. That's it. This one could be nullable. We could pull like, okay, if it's no, well, if it's this, yeah, we could, come back, throw like an exception, like throw argument except, oh, perfect, let's go. We could do that, right? So what's saying here? Indentation is not that great. Maybe put like a space. Anyways, yeah, like in the end, like this is going to be raise an exception, but if that's would be like a way for you to capture like the exceptions in here. You need to have like, by the way, you need to have try catches everywhere. You need to handle exceptions in your code. In here, we're not doing it just for the demo, but you should have like wrap this on a try catch and have like some sort of result where we're going to return a 500 with a particular error or 400s, or it just depends like on what you want. But you don't want to leak any sort of details that you don't want by just exploding that. And yeah, in general, like you need to handle this. This other one is going to be process comments, right? So let's go in here. And I'm gonna put that. We're going to create, this is still like a post as well. Let's just put like a stamp in here. And for this one, we need comment ID. All right, so let me grab it, that comment ID, which comes from await rec.read JSON async. Yeah, but I want to type. That's it. Right, so for this one, what's complaining about? Not a string, read JSON. Is that a copilot just come into place? Yeah, anyways. So this one, let's go in here. And okay, mediator. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna send what? That one, but it needs to be capital. And we don't have like return for that. So it should be that. All right, is that it? Well, it seems it is. However, there's always a however. Uh, for this one, what's complaining here? Am I forgetting? There's something here. Return statement. Again, hey, you just copy and then you forget it. But yeah, so now things are here like all okay. Then we have like the endpoints, right? Let's put like breakpoints in here. We're gonna test it. Okay. That's we have like breakpoints for everything. How we're gonna do it? Well, can we do it now? No. We have like this dependencies in here, right? So you can see that the comment service now has, uh, well, it was deleted. But what we need to do? Well, we need to have include the reference to mediator, right? So add mediator, and I'm gonna put like a configuration and see, oops, let me open that cfg.register from assembly. Of what assembly? Type of process comments dot assembly. Is that it? Yeah, that will be it. But I don't like referencing these ones like well, we have like this whole application thing in here, and we're referencing one object in here. If you delete that, that's gonna break in future. What in general, like I do like it. I, well, I think like because maybe not sure if you guys heard about like AutoFac. I used to use a lot. I used to work modules, right? So that's our IOC framework. But now because we're using the .NET container for that, right? The service collection, I'm just calling this, which is my service collection, and I'm gonna just centralize things in here because I think like makes things tidier. Yeah, what I'm gonna do it? Well, if you look in here, we have like this belongs to infrastructure. This one belongs to infrastructure. This one belongs to infrastructure. This one belongs to application. So only that, right? I'm gonna kind of bring that one, but this is infra. Remove it. Don't need it. Uh, Now I moved this, but it's still like process comments. Well, now I just replace that with search collection, right? Eh, to make things more obvious, I'm just calling add application services. You could create that as an extension. Well, up to you. I prefer like I think it's okay centralizing like that. Service collection. Right now we don't need this anymore, right? So I'm gonna leave it here. I think like well, step by step, right? Let's go and come. We have like infrastructure. We need to come in here and do the same. So we're gonna come, add a class, gonna be a service collection, right? Let's do the same as we did before, a public static, right? So that's what's gonna be doing. We have like implementations of all of them. So I'm gonna bring all of them in here. Add, I'm gonna say infra. Infra, it's what I'm saying that for this module here, infra. Do I need mediator here? No, I don't. And well, it's complaining here because it uses the in-memory, right? So what I can do, I can bring this dependency from here. Okay, I just include that reference in here, okay, because there's a dependence of the in-memory. Just to pass that, okay, and that's there. Right, so we have this one implemented, can close. This one, what's this? So that's why I like one step at a time. This is part of the client, right? So the client now, I know that this one only references the infrastructure. So this is going to be the add infra infra comments db, this one, right? Oh no, here we go. And then we need to do the same for the repository. So add infra repositories. And then we need to do the same for the infra services, service collection dot add infra services. We need to do the same for this coming from application dot add oops infra. Oh, infra. No, it's not infra. This is application, right? So that's that helps because like by specify, okay, this belongs to application, this belongs to the infra, it helps you. And I can remove all of these unused references. Well, this is now good to go. There are like few things in here I want you to be able to debug. There were like some sort of issues that remained on the lesson one. If you don't run the application, or if you run the application, well, there'll be exceptions, but I just want to pass that because we can just debug. Uh, what I want you to do is just to go to the core. Right? The core itself, when you look at the entities, I remember one of the processes in here is just like approval, right? So receive the comment was submitted. From submission, they can be approved or can be rejected. After it gets approved, perhaps you're gonna get like published. The first step in here is that's wrong here. If it starts approved, then it goes to in process. No, it's not approved. If it's submitted, right? So that's a bug of the solution. Let me close out tabs in here just to make things clear. Uh, what about the content moderation service? Well, we do, but it's not implemented, right? So we could consume like other service. What I'm gonna do in here is just return task from result false. I'm just gonna say for the sake of the debugging here, has like any profanity. No, the comment's okay. That's going to be submitted. And the other things around the persistence, I had it a lot of exceptions in here. I don't want to raise any exceptions. Just want to pass really. Task completed. Should do it. And then should be okay. Right now, we just raise exception. We didn't dive into entity framework, to be honest. I think that's something we can explore. But this one was just established to define oops, not this one, to define a layer for us to work with. For this one, right? So we need to implement var comment equals await. Oh, nice one. So that was handy. I just feels that await, but I want async. Okay, async. Cool. But it's grabbing the first that where the comment is the ID is comment ID, which is cool. That's good. Uh, okay, but this one can be no. It's going to be because there is um, no data, right? But let me just put in here if comment. Uh, okay, no. So then what I'm gonna do it? I'm just gonna return new comments. Okay, fine. Otherwise, return new get comments. Oh, that's cool. Go. So it's just translating, right? So because I'm returning the TO and just retrieving that, that's where it's not going to fall into that. It's going to fall into this because it's going to be a no, but we're just return an empty object. I think this is it, right? So another thing, we need requests. How are we going to make those requests? We can use Postman. Let's do something cool. So Visual Studio 2022, I'm going to do it requests in here. So let's put requests. Uh, sure. That's what I was doing before. I do have requests. Let me delete that. I don't want this. And let me include again. Add folder requests. Cool. What I'm gonna add? Add a new item. Get comments dot http. Right. So well, we need to launch the application. Hopefully that works. Let me see if that's going to compile well and work. All right, so there was an error. Ah, thanks, Copilot. Okay, so now let me just stop. No. Okay, so now let me run it. That's on the client. Go. And let's see. So we should have those endpoints because I need the endpoint to make the get request, right? Let me come to that. This one. So port number 7000. I'm gonna that's zoomed in. Okay, that's well, we can do in parallel in here. So we can have this get. It's pretty cool, the way how things are designed here, right? So you can have variables, a host, let's say that. And well, it just feels like okay. Oops, this. So you can specify variables. That's pretty cool. I'm really enjoying how things were defined, and I can stay within Visual Studio, and then I can do the debugging. It just feels that maybe let me remove that. So let's dive in here. So things compiled, exciting, right? And I'm gonna dive to that. And well, now we're gonna have our request for get comments. That's that's initializing things. I want to put like a breakpoint onto uh, the query here as well, because I want to see the behavior. Right now, he enter like the how the objects onto the container, the RC container, just to initialize the connection. I'm going to skip that. That's in there, but it came like to our handler, right? So we reached the handle for that. What it's going to do is going to get all the comments in our database, which is, it has nothing really. It's just like empty. We didn't implement entity framework, right? So just to say that like lesson one, we only implement the schema, like a high level. We don't have relationships, nothing like that. So this is something that still needs to be done, but it doesn't prevent me from debugging at all. And it's empty, which is fine. This is going to be empty, but when it translates, it creates the view model, which is empty as well. But in, I think this one is going to be the end, right? One of the things to notice is that this one is going to show like timeout because I was debugging. Let me just raise that and pass straight away. Go, 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 finish, right? So now, yeah, we got 200, right? But nothing. But it proves like the concept, right? That, well, we're being able to make the request in here. Just looking at our time in here, I'd like to go like through all of these requests, but I think I'm gonna do the last one. And let's see, the last one was process comments, right? Let me put like another one, uh, new item. So that is process comments dot http process comment. Boom. This one is going to be a post. Did I close? Good. So this one post process comments. Well, this one you need to have an ID, right? The submit comments, he had like a payload, right? Got a payload for that with JSON. On this one, it's just like an integer, so I can just do that. So you can see like there's a separation, an empty space in here, if I want to call it. So I'm gonna run that one. Now it is there. Oh, is there? Go coming. Initializing. Yeah, so now it has initialized. So what I can do is just to trigger that. Cool, it came like to my endpoints. I just want to dive to this one. I'm gonna put like a breakpoint in here, right? Here, here, here. Go back to my endpoints. So if we get in there, so we're gonna get, what's the comment ID? It's one, right? And now we're gonna dive onto that. Cool, it reached, right? So the process comments command handler. What I'm gonna do in here is just to get the comments where ID. Let's dive into this. Okay, it's initializing anyways, F5. So we're retrieving like the details. So it went from one handler to the other handler to the get comments by ID query. And now it's going to do the request because we're kind of nesting things in here just for code reuse. So this one is going to be no. When it comes in here, we return an empty object. So otherwise it would explode. In here as well, so that's fine. It returns the view model. When it gets to uh, process, so that's why I was replacing those uh, exceptions. But like imagine, if you need to process, you're gonna do like any sort of implementation. Yeah, that's where you would do it, like from SQL or your. Yeah, it depends on your database here. So that's the comments repository. It came back. It had processed. if you have like some sort of uh, check like content moderation, right? So okay, this one is just returning as if like there was a validation to external service. Return, okay, yeah, this has passed, and then like it's false, no profanity, and then we would like just in the end, okay, approve comment. This thing here, like it's just like around, that's the rich domain that we defined with different status, right, for where like the messages need to go and the different behaviors. So in here, like in the end, yeah, it's going to be approved. And then when we go in there, well, we don't have the implementation, but it could be like a status update. You could even trigger events in here, like DDD. You would have like domain events being raised in there. But anyways, it feels it's just like a way for us to prove the concept. And that's it, right? So, well, this one we're gonna have like the request timeout. If you were to raise again, you're gonna see that it's gonna trigger things. Just gonna pass through all of the breakpoints, and that's it, right? So we got in here our final response. I mentioned about the publisher, right? Uh, what happens, right? So in here we don't have domain-driven design. We're not targeting a particular design that focus on, well, it's just like a design that involves like the organization where the domain is the focus, but there are like some sort of specific implementations with that and some sort of standards, right? In general, like for updates, it tends to use like some sort of events, domain events for that. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna have like a notification, but just to say, for example, I want to additional logging. All right, so I could just trigger after a comment was processed. I could just say, okay, flag it, send like some sort of logging. I could perhaps um, retrieve like some data or trigger. Uh, let's say if the file, the status has changed because it has been processed, perhaps you want to release the information from the cache, just clear the cache and then to trigger another event to retrieve or pull like the data again, right? Back like onto memory. Different things you can do. This is all in process within the scope of this application. But I could come in here. I'm gonna create, right, another folder called notifications. Notifications. And I'm gonna call it this, let's say a new class called process comments notification. Yeah, let's say that. So let's include that. And I'm gonna change this. What it does implement? There's another interface. Oops, I notification. I notification, right? So that's the interface that dictates the behavior for the pub sub implementation with the mediator. What I'm gonna receive in here, like let's say just the comments, uh, comment ID, int comments ID. Let me initialize that with okay. And well, we need to have like similar sort of process, right? Because we create like the other one, the handler, we need to have the handler for that as well. So public class, let's say handler that implements notification handler. This one is going to be the uh, process comments notification, right? And that implements, let me put in here, okay, the notification. I could be like more specific. Let's say process comments, process comments, log notification. I could have another one, um, clear cache, something like that. Clear cache. So I could have like multiple subscribers. So we have this const pub sub. We're going to have like an event being triggered. We're going to have multiple subscribers. Uh, I'm not going to implement anything here, just task completed. I just want to show that we're going to have this being raised, right? Uh, when you will look at the endpoint, okay? I could nest that one on the mediator. I'm just doing, because we're doing the endpoint, we have like another implementation called publish, right? So new process comment notification that receives comment ID. Okay, so we have like that one now. I'm going to skip the rest because we've done it, but I want to have the breakpoints in here. Cool. I want to remove all of the breakpoints. Let me do that and come back to this and this. And then we have the endpoints. I'm going to put like in here. This one should remain. Let me play the solution. So you're going to see like this pub sub behavior. I think like it's a good way for you to do a trigger in process triggers for things within this application. Right? If you're gonna use external services, right? Well, you could use that, but it's not right, right? You need to cater like for retries, all of that sort of behavior implementation. If you want to guarantee delivery and not sure if you want a response on that, but there could be exceptions, right? If you have like in process, how you're gonna recover from that. So in general, like you tend to send like notifications for external events or external services, not using that sort of approach. You would implement just a layer to send like a message, right? But not necessarily leveraging what mediator provides. Nothing stops you from doing that, but my view is that for in process implementation makes sense. For external processes, then I think we need to do it separately. Let's go back to this. And people have different opinions. Don't get me wrong, right? So I just triggered that. I'm gonna go and pass the whole thing. I'm gonna get like here to the publish, and now we're gonna see it, right? So it reached the first one. Imagine if I have like any sort of logging that I need to do it, it would happen in here. If I had like to clear the cache on my application, I could do it in here as well. So you could see like both were triggered, right? And that's the notification implementation. Let's see, like, I think like from the demo, that's what I had it. I just keen like to see like the questions in here. I'm gonna make like this code available. Let me just grab the link. It's not in there, right? But I'm gonna make it available so you can also uh, download it. Let me just put like on the chats. So that one, I'm gonna put like this one on lesson 2. So it's not there yet, it's just empty. I'm gonna push it, this one, right? So uh, for sure you're gonna have access to this source codes. But let me see here, like Shouty, I don't know if we don't have voice, right? So I think that's one of the limitations in here. I think like the context from what I had understood, I think like I answered. And the thing is that like if you have like any other questions, feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. I'm happy like to help. And yeah, just keen to see like if there are any more questions. We should have like more sessions on that. There are different parts. When you look like those templates, right, or clean architecture, they seem like over-engineered, and because they have like different, they apply different patterns, use different libraries, but they all have a purpose. But it can be a little bit overwhelming, right? So what we're trying to do in this series is just to decouple things and talk a little bit of different bits and pieces. I think that's my my 2 cents on that. And with that, I think like now I would like to thank you guys. I know that we passed the 1 hour mark, but always with demos we get things to work, and then takes time, right? So that's live coding. Nothing with like Copilot help, although like I feel that sometimes they have like some hiccups, but that's how we do it, right? So no magic, just our brain think thinking about how on the next steps for things to connect and get to work. Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah, this is going to be recorded. We're gonna have like other sessions soon. Just check like the user group. We have like the link also that I shared before with the YouTube sessions, right? So have a look in there and check like later when you have the time. Cheers. Yeah. Catch you guys later. Bye.